Well, hello there, and welcome to the Dynamic
Dynamic
Dual
Duo
Love
Love
Zone.
Zone.
It is a pleasure to be able to serve you today. In this segment, we are going to be jamming and interpreting in our own way the song So Into You. So Into You. I'm into you, baby. Yes, I am. By Tamia. So the song is So Into You by Tamia. It was released in 1998. And the relationship goal, we've been talking about making deposits. So the relationship goal is the benefits of making deposits, ching, into your uh, love bank. So it's the benefits of making deposits into your love bank. And she's going to tell you why it's a benefit. All right. So let's jam.
All right.
All right. You laughing at me? Yes, you are. Man, let me tell you, I know she said she don't know, why, but I know it's because apparently, we're talking about benefits in making deposits into your loved one's love bank. And when those deposits are being made, it causes somebody to really be into someone because you see the investment that they're pouring into the relationship. And that speaks volumes when you feel that you're loved on and cared for and thought about, especially when you recognize and understand what your spouse's love bank is. Now that's important. The key is, you know, what is your spouse's love bank? How do you make those deposits? Because if I don't know, then I'm gonna get the opposite of being so into you. I mean, I am gonna get the opposite of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to think about there's a difference in just being in love with someone and being in love with someone. And that's a byproduct of being fulfilled. The more fulfillment, the more acceptance that you feel towards someone, the deeper uh, feeling of love that you have for them. So, when we get into the song, I really like what she said. With every passing moment, thoughts of you are running through my head. So to me, that speaks of fondness. When I'm fulfilled, I have a positive, warm regard towards you. Of course, I'm thinking about you all the time. You're always running through my mind. I'm always wanting to know what you're doing when I'm not around you because I appreciate the atmosphere and the fellowship that we have.
That's the foundation of establishing a friendship. Feeling fond, which will keep me, constantly thinking about you because I'm feeling like you're valuing me. So that's a great foundational stand that we can work ourselves up to, standing point we can work ourselves up to as we continue to develop a stronger love.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then she says, I realize
You're
that you're
heaven sent.
heaven sent.
He's heaven sent.
Yeah, even the Bible says every good thing comes from God. And, when you are feeling fulfilled from your spouse, you're not thinking, man, this was the worst thing that could ever happen to me. You look at them as a gift. Your spouse is your gift. Now, here's my question. Are you behaving in a way that your spouse wants to keep the gift, or do they want to return to sender?
Return to sender. Nah, I know for you, you are keeping your gift, but that's because you're continuously making those deposits.
Mm-hmm.
They say a man who finds, a wife finds
a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And obtain favor from God.
Yes.
So that's cool. That's cool. And then as she says that there is no one like you around. So to me, that says, listen, I'm not out here testing the market. I'm not out here trying to make comparisons because I am satisfied with what I have.
Because I feel like you are made for me and I am made for you. And that is what makes me feel satisfied with what I have.
Mm-hmm.
We're made for each other.
Yeah. So, making those deposits are instrumental in helping to create that positive, warm regard that your spouse should feel for you. And do you have a positive, warm regard for your spouse? Or are you ready to box them up or box her up every time you see it?
Hope not. But if you have a positive, warm regard towards your spouse, that means you know your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know your spouse? Do you know their love language? Do you know their emotional needs? Willard Harley talks about 10 emotional needs that we have. Now, all 10 are important, but we have things that we really put as a high priority, and you have to know those things. And so it's wonderful because in this next segment, we're going to talk, she's going to probably start talking about, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but she's saying, I'm trying to figure this out. What is it? And when you tap into, and I'm glad that she said that, because also, not only just communicating what my emotional needs are, I need to know what my emotional needs are. So sometimes I need to sit back and say, what really fulfills me? Is it, intimate conversations? Is it physical touch? Is it, recreation, companionship, spending time together? Is it, hey, financial support, clean, make sure our money is together, or domestic support? Sexual fulfillment. So what I'm doing is I'm naming all these emotional needs that are important. So it is important to find out what your emotional need is, and then to communicate what your emotional need is to your spouse or your loved one, so they can begin to meet that need. And only not meet that need, but know how to. Because how to is important as well.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Pausing.
Right.
Okay. What was you about to say?
Just thinking about, she said, it could be the way that you hold me. Now, of course, we know holding someone, that refers to affection, non-sexual physical touch. And she said it could be the things that you say. And that comes back to that intimate conversation. But she says, but I know one thing, I like feeling this way. So what that is the byproduct of having those emotional needs be met by their spouse.
The byproduct. That's why it's a benefit, because a byproduct is when your spouse or your loved one is feeling that way and they're feeling good about it, of course they're going to turn towards you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the only thing that they would want to do, because they want more, and not only just wanting more, then they can reciprocate.
Mm-hmm.
And they can see how much you pour into them, and so then they pour into you. You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
So as you're sowing, the benefit is I'm reaping, and as I reap, I want to sow back.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. And it's important that we do understand, like you said, Cher, that what our spouse, not only what they need, but how they need it. And I like to say, I want to get the most bang for my buck. So what that means, if I'm going to invest in creating deposits for my spouse, I want to make sure that I can get the biggest return for the amount of energies or efforts that I put into satisfying her, making her happy. And like Cher said, we all have some needs in all of those areas, but some are more important than others. So being able to recognize those ones that have the most value is critical when it comes to getting the best bang for your buck.
The best bang for your buck. That sounds like I said but hey, sex is good too. Here's one thing that I thought about what you said, and we talked about it. Not just communicating, but the how-tos. And how-tos are so important, because if one of my emotional needs, because she had brought up, was it could be the things that you say, so that speaks to the emotional need of admiration. And, but you need to know how to give that admiration, how to. Because if I just think that, hey, I could just say, you're good, appreciate you, and you might think, well, I am admiring you because I'm telling you these positive affirmations, yet I'm thinking in my head, well, why? Then, yeah, you're making deposits, but the greater value is the fact that you're telling me why. So I will come back and say, I'm glad that you're taking the effort to say that, I'm good, you appreciate me, but I want you to take it a step further to tell me why. I want to hear the why do you appreciate me? Why am I so good?
Mm-hmm.
And so then that really makes it, the love make even more secure and fulfilled. Yeah.
Good stuff. So, another thing I think about is, we all have a giver and a taker. And, when you're feeling fulfilled, what that does is that motivates the giver side of you to want to do more for your spouse. And you kind of touched on it when you said, you getting things, so then you want to do other things. But it's that giver side of you that when you're fulfilled, it wants to stand out. It wants to go over and above to fulfill the spouse.
Right. So the giver takes care of the person, and the taker takes care of self. And when you're in an intimate and happy, fulfilling relationship, both are working in conjunction with each other. So they're in sync. It becomes a problem when you start having them, what we call love busters. Will Harley talks about love busters. That's the opposite of making deposits. Those are when you make withdrawals. You don't want to make withdrawals, because you will find yourself being in an unfulfilled relationship.
That's right. All right, let's finish up.
like this song. So I have a question for you, our listeners, viewers. Is your significant one or your spouse into you?
Yeah. Are they your dream come true? Because you think about it as we think of what the magical, perfect relationship would be like for us. No one imagined, man, there's going to be all this unfulfillment, all of this hurt, pain. No, we have thoughts about all the wonderful things, the warm feelings, all of these things that we're going to experience in a loving relationship. And we create that culture when we are making those deposits, when we do understand what our spouse's needs are and how to meet them. And what we'll do when we're doing that, we do create that opportunity for them to be into us.
Absolutely, into you. And the most skilled couples, they do what's called the magic 5-to-1 ratio. Gottman talks about this. So the magic 5-to-1 ratio is not only do they just make one deposit into their spouse's love bank, but they have 5 positive interactions that they're continuously making. So what they're doing is multiplying just one deposit. And when they multiply, when I do make those withdrawals and I do create a love buster, it won't, really hurt the bank account, the love bank account as much, because I'm constantly putting more surplus into the account that I know is going to continue to have that person be so into me. That's the benefit of making deposits.
That's right. Because being into you creates that intimacy.
Intimacy.
And that's closeness. Like that's a bond. That's connectedness that every fulfilling relationship shares. So, we thank you again for being a part of the dynamic duo Love Zone.
And let me tell you this on a note before we end. If you feel that your account is in the deficit, no worries. You can work yourself out of the deficits by starting making those deposits so you can receive the benefits. So, just start making those deposits. Start going back and communicating, what do I need to do? How can I make things better? So it was our pleasure to serve you. Mm-hmm. Feel free to continue to, subscribe to us on our YouTube page. That's the Dynamic Duo Marriage Doctors. That's the Dynamic Duo Marriage Doctors. Also, you can continue to follow us on our Facebook page. That's Dynamic Marriage St. Louis. That's our Facebook page, Dynamic Marriage St. Louis. We would love your requests and your comments. And if you find, like I said before, your marriage or your relationship is in like the black, it's in the red. Mm-hmm. In the red. We want your marriage to be in the black. But if it's in the red, we do have a counseling agency, and we love to provide more interventions and tools that you can use to better help the relationship grow and get out of the red to the black. And that's at www.cpfs. Go ahead, baby.
Yeah, we also have an 8-week enrichment program called Dynamic Marriage,
yes,
which can help you better understand your spouse's emotional needs and be able to share those in open, loving format with couples that are on the same page as you.
I'm glad you brought that up. And with that marriage enrichment class, it is wonderful. And here's the thing, even though we're kind of in this, transition between getting able to come out of our homes, I know we need to be slow and mindful about it. So that doesn't stop dynamic marriage, though. We can do it virtual. We do it always live. So, look into that, because that's a wonderful way to continue to understand more of how to make deposits and stay away from the withdrawals.
That's right. All right. With that being said, we will
see you soon.